Welcome to the Backed by Science podcast, hosted by The Wonder Drop. Imagine this. In, less than 4 decades, the average man's sperm count has plummeted. And not just by a little bit. We're talking a staggering 59%. Just let that sink in for a second. This isn't some, abstract number you find buried in a medical journal. It's a huge global shift in human reproductive health.
It really is.
It touches every single one of us, really, whether you're thinking about starting a family, already have kids, or, just care about where things are heading. It's kind of a quiet crisis, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. A quiet crisis unfolding. And it demands our attention.
Yeah.
It truly is a stark and frankly deeply concerning reality. This huge decline, this precipitous drop, it's documented by sources like UChicago Medicine, the Salus-Futas research. It's not just one place.
Yeah.
It's a consistent global trend. And the practical side of this, we're already seeing it. When you look at infertility rates, the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, they note that in roughly, 35% of couples facing challenges getting pregnant, there's a male factor identified.
Yeah.
Right alongside a female factor.
35%, that's significant.
It is. This isn't just a minor issue. It positions male fertility as an absolutely critical piece of that whole reproductive health puzzle.
Absolutely. And then you layer on top of that this societal trend, right? Couples delaying parenthood, often for really good reasons, social, economic, whatever.
Perfectly valid reasons.
But when you combine that with this alarming drop in sperm quality, well, you see a compounding effect, don't you?
You really do. It's like we're narrowing that natural reproductive window from both ends.
Exactly. Which means more individuals, more couples are probably going to find themselves struggling significantly when they finally decide, okay, now's the time.
Making the understanding of what's happening biologically, especially what we can actually control, incredibly important.
Precisely.
Urgent, even.
Precisely. The biological clock, as they say, might be ticking.
Right.
But now it seems it's paired with a declining baseline,
It creates a sort of perfect storm, doesn't it? Where preventative measures, informed choices about lifestyle, they just become paramount. It's not just about individuals anymore. It feels like a collective shift is needed.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Today, our deep dive is right into this connection, this profound and, frankly, often overlooked link between what we eat, what we drink, even what we're sort of accidentally exposed to through our diet, and its direct impact on male fertility, on sperm quality. So for this deep dive, we've gathered insights from comprehensive scientific reviews, medical articles, really trying to give you the most current, actionable understanding.
Yeah, really solid sources.
We're talking landmark research from places like the University of Salento, compelling insights from UChicago Medicine, and those systematic analyses you see in top journals like Human Reproduction Update and Current Nutrition Reports. Our mission here is pretty clear. Cut through the noise, right? Try to simplify some of this complex science behind things like sperm bioenergetics and quality.
Yeah, it gets technical fast.
It does. And extract the most important nutritional truths.
Some surprising facts, too.
Yeah.
We really want to empower you with knowledge that goes beyond just, this food is good, this food is bad.
Exactly. Moving beyond simple associations.
We want to get into the why, the underlying biochemical mechanism, so you can truly grasp why certain foods matter, not just that they do.
Indeed. The goal is really to illuminate those intricate pathways where diet influences such fundamental biological processes. It's about giving you a sort of mental framework to understand not just a list, but the actual cellular, the molecular impact of your dietary choices. This is about real science backing up everyday decisions. So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Maybe you're not trying to conceive right now. Maybe you are. Maybe it's not even on your radar yet. But even if reproduction isn't the immediate concern, understanding how diet influences something as fundamental as, human reproduction, it offers really crucial insights into your overall health, your wellness. Think about it. The energy metabolism of sperm, the integrity of their DNA, their ability to move purposefully, to fertilize an egg. These things are incredibly sensitive to what you eat.
They really are.
Learning about this is basically learning about your body's foundational function.
Exactly. The insights we get here, they really do transcend that immediate goal of reproduction. They speak to systemic health issues, things like inflammation, oxidative stress, hormonal balance.
They're big ones.
Right. All deeply influenced by diet. And they underpin your overall vitality. It's a powerful lens, really, to view your metabolic health more broadly, connecting the dots, between your plate and your deepest, most intricate biological functions. It can be quite an eye-opening journey into how what you consume just ripples through your entire system.
Okay, now let's dive into the scope of this alarming decline in male fertility. We started with that pretty chilling statistic, didn't we? 59% drop in average sperm counts in just the last 38 years or so.
It's stark.
It really underscores the urgency. And like you said, this isn't just an anomaly or a problem in one country. It's a very real, consistent global trend.
That's the key takeaway. It's global. We're witnessing a significant, undeniable erosion, really, of human reproductive potential, affecting populations across continents in North America, Europe, Australia.
Wow. And the practical implications you touched on this, they're profound.
Absolutely. When we consider that infertility is already a global public health issue affecting, an estimated 15% of all reproductive age couples worldwide.
15%.
Yeah. And the male factor is identified in roughly a third of those cases. It moves way beyond a theoretical problem. This isn't just for researchers and labs. It's a lived, often very painful reality for millions of people.
And here's where it gets even trickier, right? That point about people having children later.
Mm-hmm. The delay in parenthood.
Many couples are consciously choosing that for all sorts of valid reasons, but this understandable societal trend, when you combine it with this accelerating decline in sperm quality, it adds another layer, another formidable layer of complexity to their journey.
It really does. It means those inherent biological challenges that naturally come with age are now compounded by this broader physiological trend.
It's like sailing into that perfect storm you mentioned, where more and more people are likely to find themselves struggling with fertility, facing hurdles that maybe previous generations didn't face quite as often or as severely.
Exactly. That combination, older parental age at conception, alongside diminishing sperm quality, means the natural reproductive window is effectively narrowing from both ends.
Right.
Which makes understanding and implementing effective interventions, especially preventative dietary measures, even more crucial if we want to support reproductive health on a bigger scale.
Okay, so with that stark picture painted, let's try to unpack the mystery a bit. What's causing this widespread decline?
Well,
it's important to say up front, isn't it, that there's no single definitive smoking gun cause.
Absolutely not. As sources like UChicago Medicine consistently point out, it's not one lone culprit. It seems to be a really complex interplay of various factors.
Multifactorial.
Multifactorial, exactly. And that inherent complexity is precisely what makes it so challenging to fully pin down and address.
But while a single cause is elusive,
the strong consensus among researchers is that it's a mosaic of influences. Think of it like a systemic issue. Multiple environmental factors, lifestyle choices, and crucially dietary elements are all contributing. It's like trying to solve a puzzle with lots of missing or slightly warped pieces.
And this is where our deep dive really wants to zero in. While the sources do, briefly mention other speculative things, heat from laptops, cell phones in pockets, stuff people worry about casually.
Yeah, those come up a lot.
Our mission today is to focus squarely on the concrete scientific evidence related to nutrition. Because diet, it turns out, it's not just one factor among many. It looks like a profoundly significant and often underestimated culprit. And its impact goes way beyond fertility, influencing a whole host of broader health problems that affect our well-being fundamentally.
And the emphasis on diet in our discussion is, I think, completely warranted. Because unlike many other potential factors, it represents a highly modifiable aspect of our daily lives.
Right. Something you can actually do something about.
Precisely. Individuals have direct agency over what they choose to eat, and that offers clear, actionable pathways for improvement. Understanding its direct biochemical impact on sperm provides a powerful roadmap. It shows you exactly what changes can potentially make a difference.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, again? Even if you're not actively trying to conceive, maybe not even thinking about it, understanding how diet influences a process as fundamental as reproduction gives you these crucial insights into overall health and wellness.
Right.
It's not just about making babies. It's about understanding how your body functions at its core.
Yeah.
The energy of sperm, their DNA integrity, their movement, all incredibly sensitive to nutritional input. It's kind of a masterclass in how intimately connected our internal biology is to our external choices.
Exactly. And these insights, they do transcend that immediate goal. They speak to systemic issues, chronic inflammation that underlies so many modern diseases.
Yeah.
The balance of oxidative stress, that delicate dance of hormonal regulation, all profoundly influenced by diet, all foundational to overall vitality. It's a lens, really, to view your metabolic health more broadly, connecting those dots between your plate and your deepest biological functions. This knowledge empowers you beyond just fertility concerns. It illuminates pathways to better health across the board.
Okay, let's shift focus now. Let's examine some broad dietary patterns and their, well, sweeping impact on male fertility. And we have to start with, maybe, the notorious villain.
A well-known risk factor many of us are probably far too familiar with, the Western diet.
Ah, yes. The Western dietary pattern. It's pretty pervasive, isn't it? Characterized by its heavy reliance on industrially processed foods, high consumption of animal proteins, an abundance of simple carbohydrates, think sugary drinks, white bread, and copious amounts of trans fats and saturated fats. Conversely, it's typically very low in dietary fiber and those essential unsaturated fatty acids we need.
So the typical fast food meals, sugary sodas, processed snacks.
Pretty much. It's often a diet built for convenience, for palatability, but frequently at the expense of actual nutritional density.
And the negative health consequences.
Right.
They stretch far beyond just fertility challenges.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. Research like Faramosca's work and many others consistently links the Western diet to an increased risk of metabolic diseases. Type 2 diabetes is a big one. Cardiovascular issues like atherosclerosis, even neurodegeneration, and various cancers. It's a diet that seems to systematically undermine health across almost every bodily system.
Not just the reproductive one, it's foundational.
Exactly. Foundational. Now, when we narrow the focus specifically to male fertility, the Western diet contributes to this complex cascade of molecular problems. One of the most significant pathways is its direct contribution to obesity. And obesity isn't just about carrying extra weight, it's a metabolically active state. It fundamentally disrupts hormone levels, it impairs sperm function, it even alters the molecular composition of the sperm themselves. It's a massive, undeniable factor in male infertility.
So it's not just about weight messing with hormones generally, it gets more specific.
Oh yes. Obesity profoundly interferes with what's known as the hypothalamic pituitary gonadal axis, or HPG axis. Think of it like the body's central command for hormone regulation, a sophisticated internal thermostat. When excess adipose tissue, fat tissue, throws this system off balance, it leads to a condition called hypogonadism.
Right.
Which, in simple terms, means reduced testosterone levels and consequently fewer spermatozoa, fewer sperm being produced. It's a direct hit to the factory floor.
Wow. And beyond hormones.
Beyond the hormonal disruption, increased fat tissue causes two critical problems: insulin resistance and oxidative stress.
The dangerous duo.
Exactly. This pair directly alters reproductive pathways and severely impairs sperm function. Now, hyperinsulinemia and hyperglycemia, that's chronically high insulin and blood sugar, the hallmarks of insulin resistance, they seem responsible for reducing the sperm's ability to take up and use glucose.
And glucose is their fuel, right?
It's the primary fuel for ATP production. ATP is that cellular energy currency. So if glucose uptake is impaired, ATP production suffers. Without enough ATP, sperm just don't have the fuel to move effectively. Their motility takes a nosedive, like a car running on empty.
And it gets even more complex, I gather. Something about leptin.
Yes, leptin. It's a hormone secreted by fat cells. And in obese individuals, you find higher concentrations of leptin in their seminal plasma. This condition, hyperleptinemia, actively contributes to a chronic pro-inflammatory state, right there in the testicular microenvironment and the tubes sperm travel through.
So inflammation inside the reproductive system.
Exactly. And this inflammation dramatically increases the levels of reactive oxygen species, ROS. Think of ROS as tiny, highly reactive, destructive molecules. Microscopic wrecking balls, essentially. They constantly damage sperm cells, leading to a significant decrease in overall sperm quality. It's like a relentless cellular battle that, unfortunately, many sperm are losing.
And there's more. Something about an enzyme. Aromatase.
Yes, aromatase.
Yeah.
Excess fat tissue dramatically increases the activity of this enzyme. And aromatase is notorious because it converts testosterone into estradiol, a form of estrogen.
So the fat tissue itself is messing with hormones, converting testosterone to estrogen.
Precisely. The resulting decrease in testosterone is a major problem because testosterone is the principal androgen, the main male hormone in the testes that directly regulates spermatogenesis, sperm production. So more fat means potentially more estrogen, less testosterone, and severely impaired sperm development. It's a vicious cycle.
Wow. And all these things, low testosterone, high ROS, inflammation, they lead to mitochondrial dysfunction.
They all converge on that, yes. Mitochondrial dysfunction. Remember, mitochondria are the tiny power plants within every cell, including sperm. These defects don't just affect overall cell health. They directly cause oxidative damage to crucial components like lipids, proteins, and even the mitochondrial DNA itself.
Damage to the power plant's own blueprint. Yeah.
Exactly. The result is a severe decrease in ATP levels, that vital energy currency, and unfortunately an increase in ROS production, creating even more damage. Ultimately, this leads to a significant decline in sperm number, their ability to move effectively, motility, and their normal shape, morphology.
Yeah.
Sperm mitochondria play such a pivotal role. When their machinery is damaged, ATP synthesis is crippled. It severely affects their ability to function, like that car engine running on dirty fuel, breaking down from the inside.
And we can't forget dyslipidemia.
We cannot forget dyslipidemia. That term just refers to alterations in your lipid profiles, the balance of fats in your blood.
Yeah.
Very often associated with increased fat tissue. And these lipid imbalances are directly correlated with male infertility, adding yet another layer.
So things like high cholesterol, high triglycerides.
Exactly. Those specific alterations are known to negatively affect semen quality. It's really a comprehensive assault on sperm health from the Western diet.
Okay, that was quite the sobering picture of the Western diet. But now let's shift to some genuinely good news, or at least a significant beacon of protection. The Mediterranean diet.
Ah, yes. A much more positive story.
We generally think of it as healthy, right? But its specific striking benefits for male reproductive health seem really remarkable.
They are. This diet pattern is characterized by, well, lots of good stuff. High consumption of legumes, whole cereals, fresh fruits, vibrant vegetables. It includes moderate amounts of fish and, yes, sometimes wine, and notably low consumption of dairy products and red meat.
And olive oil is key, isn't it?
Olive oil is highlighted as the main source of added fat. So this specific composition means the Mediterranean diet is naturally rich in beneficial monounsaturated fatty acids, abundant dietary fiber, and a wealth of powerful antioxidants, all while being low in saturated fat. It's not just a list of foods, it integrates healthy living habits, specific food choices, cooking practices, leading to a broad spectrum of health benefits.
And these benefits extend directly to male reproductive health.
Very clearly, numerous studies show it actively promotes good male fertility. It's not just vaguely good for you. It's specifically associated with a measurable increase in sperm number, sperm quality, and significantly improved chances of conceiving. It's a dietary pattern that genuinely supports life at its most fundamental level.
What's fascinating here, you mentioned, is how it does this. How the nutrients directly support the biochemistry of sperm health, especially those mitochondria.
Exactly. One key reason for its positive impact is that it provides very low levels of those detrimental saturated and trans fats, while supplying adequate levels of vital nutrients. Things like essential omega-3 fatty acids, powerful antioxidant molecules, crucial vitamins.
So that's how those antioxidants we hear about help the sperm directly.
Precisely. That consistent intake of antioxidant vitamins like C and E, along with various carotenoids from fruits and vegetables, has been directly linked to higher sperm counts and better overall quality.
So they're not just general health boosters, they're doing heavy lifting for sperm.
Absolutely. Higher intakes of fruit, whole cereals, vegetables, they're consistently related to better sperm motility and concentration. These compounds are actively protecting mitochondrial function. They modulate metabolism, enhance biogenesis, maintain a healthy redox status, essentially keeping those cellular power plants running cleaner and more efficiently.
Giving sperm the power they need.
Exactly. This direct protection of mitochondrial function is a crucial explanation for the tangible benefits we see on male reproductive performance.
And olive oil, you said it plays a significant role.
A remarkably significant role. As the main source of beneficial monounsaturated fatty acids, MUFAs, animal models show olive oil supplementation can significantly increase sperm quality. It seems to do this by favorably modifying the sperm membrane's lipid composition critical for function. It also actively reduces oxidative stress damage and helps restore optimal mitochondrial function. It's more than just a healthy fat. It's a functional ingredient contributing directly to sperm vitality.
Plus, the Mediterranean pattern naturally shifts the balance away from omega-6 fatty acids towards omega-3s, right?
Yes. It encourages a more favorable omega-3 to omega-6 ratio. And this balance has been strongly associated with an improvement in sperm energetic metabolism, optimizing how sperm generate and use energy. It's a truly holistic approach, supporting sperm health from multiple angles: structure, energy, protection.
Okay, now let's move to the vegetarian diet, which you said presents a much more controversial, kind of nuanced picture.
It does. On one hand, A large portion of the world follows vegetarian diets for various reasons, and studies often report protective associations with reduced risk factors for chronic diseases.
And like the Mediterranean diet, it's rich in fruits and vegetables.
Exactly. So it provides a wealth of antioxidant molecules. These can act as sperm ROS regulators, potentially reducing DNA damage, increasing motility and vitality. So there are clear potential upsides.
However, and this is where it gets surprising for many people.
Right. However, some studies have actually described a measurable reduction in sperm concentration and motility associated with vegetarian diets.
That is a contradiction. Why would that be?
It's perplexing. The negative impact might be attributed to a couple of things. One strong hypothesis points to estrogenic compounds, specifically phytoestrogens. These are found in high concentrations in certain soy products, which often feature heavily in vegetarian diets.
Ah, the soy debate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
These compounds can mimic estrogen's actions. Another possibility involves chemical residues that might accumulate in the diet from specific sourcing, potentially exerting adverse effects. It really underscores a crucial point. Even seemingly healthy diets can have complex, nuanced effects. It depends on the specific composition, the sources, how it interacts with individual biology. It's definitely not as simple as plant-based equals good, always. The specifics matter.
That's a really critical point about complexity. Now let's take an even deeper dive into specific nutrients and foods, focusing on their precise molecular effects, their involvement in those biochemical mechanisms, like sperm bioenergetics. Let's start with dietary fats, the lipid landscape shaping sperm health.
Absolutely. In sperm cells, fatty acids are fundamentally critical. They're essential parts of the sperm's outer membrane, governing flexibility, fusion capabilities, overall function, but they're also vital energy suppliers. And some fatty acids, like the omega-6 and omega-3 polyunsaturated fatty acids, or PUFAs, the body can't make them. We must get them from food. They're essential for a reason, foundational for sperm health.
But as we've hinted, not all fats are created equal. Let's talk about the harmful ones first. Saturated fatty acids, SFAs, and trans fatty acids, TFAs. What should we avoid or limit?
Right. Diets rich in SFAs or low in beneficial PUFAs, or critically, those with an unbalanced omega-6 to omega-3 ratio. They consistently show negative effects on sperm quality. Human studies show high dietary intake of saturated fat inversely correlates with total sperm count and concentration, fewer sperm. And even more concerning, trans fatty acids are inversely related to total sperm count, a direct negative impact on sheer numbers. Less healthy, fewer sperm.
And the molecular consequences. What's happening inside the sperm?
It's direct and quite devastating. High SFLO-PUFA diets directly decrease the activity of key energetic enzymes within sperm, like the sperm-specific lactate dehydrogenase LDHC4. This enzyme is crucial for sperm energy metabolism, enabling both glycolysis and oxidative phosphorylation, the main ways sperm make ATP, their fuel.
So it cripples their engines.
It directly cripples mitochondrial respiration, makes the sperm's tiny engines literally less efficient, less powerful. And where do these fats hide? Processed meats, full-fat dairy, butter, and maybe most pervasively industrially processed foods and fried junk food.
Okay. But on the flip side, the beneficial fats, PUFAs, especially omega-3s and MUFAs.
Yes, the good guys. Omega-3 PUFAs think fatty fish like salmon, flax seeds, walnuts. They are consistently and positively correlated with higher sperm quality, including normal sperm shape or morphology. And the exciting part, administering omega-3 PUFAs demonstrably increases mitochondrial energetic metabolism in sperm. It actively reduces oxidative damage. We can even see markers improving, like the aconitase-fumarase ratio, telling us the energy factories are running cleaner. These fatty acids also improve the activity of those key enzymes like LDHC4 and the respiratory complexes. And beyond energy, they are absolutely crucial for optimal sperm membrane fluidity, essential for movement, capacitation, and ultimately fertilization.
So like premium fuel for sperm rockets.
Something like that. And MUFAs, those monounsaturated fats in olive oil, avocados, also incredibly beneficial. Studies show MUFA administration can counteract the negative effects of a high-fat diet on sperm quality by favorably modifying sperm membrane composition, reducing oxidative stress damage, and modulating those enzymatic activities involved in energy metabolism, specifically helping mitochondrial function. It really all comes back to keeping that cellular engine running smoothly.
Next up, dietary cholesterol. You called this a double-edged sword. How so?
It genuinely is fascinating and often misunderstood. On one hand, cholesterol is absolutely essential. It's critical for the structure and dynamics of the sperm membrane. It affects fluidity, which impacts motility swimming ability, and two vital processes for fertilization: capacitation.
The final maturation step.
Exactly. And the acrosome reaction releasing enzymes to penetrate the egg. Beyond structure, cholesterol is also a direct substrate, a raw material for testosterone synthesis. So you absolutely need it.
But there's always a but, isn't there?
There is. The crucial caveat. An excess of dietary cholesterol can be detrimental, dangerous even. It can cause harmful cholesterol accumulation in the testicular Leydig cells, precisely where testosterone is made.
So even though it's the raw material,
Too much overloads the system. It can lead to endoplasmic reticulum stress, a cellular distress signal. This causes downregulation of steroidogenic enzymes, the machinery that makes testosterone, leading to a significant decrease in testosterone production.
and low testosterone, as we heard, leads to oxidative stress and mitochondrial problems.
Exactly. Plus, high cholesterol intake has been inversely related to ejaculate volume. The key is maintaining cholesterol homeostasis, a delicate balance. The right concentration is critical for optimal sperm quality. Too little is bad, but too much is just as problematic.
Let's transition now to dietary carbohydrates, navigating the sugar minefield, as I called it. This is huge in modern diets.
It is huge, and its role in male fertility is complex, still being explored. But simple sugars are definitely a significant factor. A key study by Chu et al. Found sugar-sweetened beverage consumption was significantly associated with lower sperm motility in healthy young men.
Lower motility specifically, even if other things looked okay.
Exactly. In that study, reproductive hormone levels, other sperm parameters like count and morphology, they remain unaffected. It suggests sugar might primarily impact how sperm move, rather than how many there are or their shape.
So even if the count is okay, their ability to swim effectively takes a dive. What's the molecular link there?
It's fascinating. High sugar intake leads to increased insulin resistance. This corresponds directly to poor glucose utilization by sperm. And in sperm cells, glucose is the primary substrate for glycolysis, how they get ATP energy.
Right, fuel again.
So reduced glucose uptake and metabolism directly means a critical decrease in ATP concentration. Absolutely necessary to sustain motility. Imagine that swimmer losing half their energy mid-race.
Yeah.
Beyond that, consistently high blood glucose was also linked to lower testosterone and increased oxidative stress, further impairing mitochondrial functionality, that recurring destructive theme.
And long-term effects, especially from things like fructose.
Even more concerning, animal models, specifically rats, strongly suggest high fructose intake, especially starting young, can significantly impair reproductive function later. Lower serum testosterone, lower sperm count, maybe affecting motility too. More recently, reduced motility after a high-sugar diet was also linked to alterations in human sperm small RNA profiles. These small RNAs are crucial for guiding the development of functionally mature sperm. Altering them can have profound, subtle effects.
So the sources are clear. Sugar-sweetened beverages, sweets, major culprits, approach with extreme caution.
Definitely.
But what about artificial sweeteners? Are they safer? A guilt-free way to satisfy that sweet tooth?
Well, some animal studies suggest maybe not necessarily safer, possibly posing their own risks. For example, a mouse study showed high doses of aspartame, very common, correlated with sperm DNA fragmentation and morphological defects, attributed to increased ROS, oxidative stress, that familiar pathway.
Even stevia, often called natural.
Stevia was associated with decreased sperm count and lower testosterone in rats in one study. But it's not universal condemnation. Research on sucralose, maybe the most common one,
Yeah.
reported it does not impair sperm quality and has no effect on sperm glycolysis, so the picture is mixed. This area really needs more robust human research on long-term implications. The takeaway: just because it's sugar-free doesn't automatically mean it's fertility safe.
Okay. And complex carbohydrates, whole grains, these sources don't focus on them as much.
Their specific direct role is less explored here compared to simple sugars, true. But the general benefits of healthy diets, rich in whole cereals, like the Mediterranean diet, implicitly support their positive impact.
Through overall health.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is profoundly relevant to fertility. Complex carbs give a steady energy release without the metabolic chaos of simple sugars. Plus, their high fiber content can help regulate plasma estrogen levels essential for normal male fertility. So, while not studied directly on sperm function here, their systemic benefits indirectly support reproductive health.
Now, protein, essential macronutrient. But does the source or the quantity matter for male fertility?
It absolutely does. While proteins aren't direct energy substrates for sperm cells themselves, they're crucial for the overall health and function of the male reproductive system. For instance, a low-protein diet is seen as a potential risk factor. It's been shown to cause significant reduction in the weight of the testes, epididymis, seminal vesicles, key organs. Also leads to decreased serum testosterone, directly impacting sperm production.
And too much protein.
Reports on high-protein diets are actually quite contradictory in the literature, suggesting maybe moderation and perhaps source are more important than just more protein.
So the type of protein matters significantly. Plant versus animal.
Exactly. The amino acid profiles, the building blocks, vary dramatically. Plant proteins generally have lower levels of sulfur-containing amino acids, like methine and cysteine, compared to animal proteins. Interestingly, these specific sulfur amino acids negatively affected progressive sperm motility in vitro in lab settings. More compellingly, a monkey study directly compared animal versus plant protein diets.
What did they find?
Monkeys fed the animal protein diet consistently showed lower sperm counts and motility, plus increased sperm abnormalities compared to those on the plant-based diet. This strongly suggests the potential advantage for plant-based protein sources for male fertility, though, as always, more targeted human research is needed for confirmation.
Okay, let's talk about a controversial one. Dairy products. Simple advice gets complicated here, doesn't it?
It really does. This raises that important question. Is all dairy created equal when it comes to male fertility? The evidence suggests quite clearly, no, it's not. And this challenges simple advice like, just drink your milk. Studies consistently show an inverse relationship between full-fat dairy, whole milk, cream, especially cheese, and both sperm motility and morphology. Higher consumption linked to less mobile, more abnormally shaped sperm.
Why? What's the theory?
One compelling hypothesis points to naturally occurring estrogens from pregnant cows in commercial milk. These exogenous estrogens, when consumed, could potentially contribute to decreased sperm production in men. Hormones in milk potentially impacting human hormones.
That's a surprising connection for many, I bet, but low-fat dairy, same story.
Interestingly, no. The narrative shifts significantly. Low-fat or skimmed milk products have been associated with higher sperm concentration and progressive motility.
Higher, why the difference?
It could be linked to higher circulating levels of insulin-like growth factor 1, IGF-1. IGF-1 is crucial for spermatogenesis, sperm creation, and cell division in the testes. Given that spermatogenesis involves active cell division needing insulin signals, and IGF-1 can activate Leydig cell insulin receptors, which regulate Sertoli cell proliferation cells vital for sperm development, this positive relationship with low-fat dairy might represent a direct biological effect.
So the effect isn't monolithic. Fat content, hormonal components. They play a nuanced role. It defies simple rules.
Absolutely. Nuance is key here.
Moving on to the unsung heroes, maybe. The silent protectors, antioxidants, the body's protective shield, critical for male reproduction.
Absolutely critical. Their primary function is regulating reactive oxygen species, ROS. As we discussed, high ROS levels are incredibly detrimental. Microscopic grenades damaging sperm DNA, reducing motility, vitality, even increasing miscarriage risk.
So antioxidants are the scavengers.
They act as scavengers, yes, neutralizing these harmful molecules before they cause widespread destruction. They're a crucial defense mechanism, even seen as potential treatment to reverse ROS damage.
The cleanup proof for delicate sperm. Let's delve into key antioxidant nutrients. Vitamins first.
Let's. Vitamin C, very potent, water-soluble antioxidant, abundant in fruits like oranges, mangoes, vegetables like bell peppers. It plays multiple roles, improves seminal quality, reduces oxidative stress, and crucially, enhances energy production for motility by acting on key mitochondrial enzymes like succinate dehydrogenase and ATPase.
But there's a catch. Sometimes high intake from food alone showed lower counts.
Yes, that's where it gets complex. Some studies report lower sperm concentration count with high vitamin C from food sources alone. It seems contradictory, highlighting the intricate nature of nutrient interactions. Maybe differences between whole food sources versus isolated supplements. It's not always more is better.
A great example of nutrition complexity. Vitamin E.
Vitamin E. We can't make it, must get it from diet. Lipid-soluble antioxidant in plant oils, nuts, seeds, leafy greens, fruits, vegetables, its main job. Defending against oxidative stress within the fatty environment of sperm cell membranes, protecting them against ROS and lipid peroxidation, basically, preventing the cell's outer layer from rusting. It also significantly improves mitochondrial activity, keeping the power plants functional. Both C and E are essential protectors.
And vitamin D and folate.
High vitamin D intake is consistently associated with lower risk of actinozoospermia, that's reduced sperm motility, sperm that don't swim well. Points to its importance for function. High folate intake, leafy greens, legumes, fortified grains, is linked to lower frequencies of sperm aneuploidy, abnormal chromosome numbers.
So folate helps ensure the genetic material is correct.
It strongly suggests folate's critical role in spermatogenesis due to its fundamental role in DNA maintenance and synthesis during that complex sperm development process, ensuring genetic integrity.
Beyond vitamins, minerals, zinc and selenium.
Yes, two essential trace minerals, both strongly associated with improved sperm quality and significantly less sperm DNA fragmentation, or SDF. Zinc helps protect from oxidative damage, maintain structural integrity. Selenium is integral to proper sperm formation and motility, vital protectors, indispensable for male fertility.
And carotenoids, those vibrant pigments in fruits and veggies.
A fascinating class. Lycopene, reddish carotenoid in tomatoes, red fruits, potent antioxidant, positively affects testicular mitochondrial function, modulates lipid peroxidation, enhances antioxidant enzymes, improves Krebs cycle activity central to energy production, leads to improved sperm morphology, shape, and respiration efficiency, energy use. Astaxanthin, another powerful carotenoid, even more effective than vitamin E against lipid peroxidation, linked to improved sperm parameters, fertility through enhanced mitochondrial function, membrane potential, respiratory control, boosting the energetic powerhouse.
And others like beta-carotene.
Beta-carotene, cryptoxanthin, also positively associated with sperm concentration, motility, total motile sperm count.
It really sounds like eat the rainbow is genuinely good advice, specifically for sperm health. What about polyphenols, found in so many plants?
Polyphenols, especially flavonoids, are widespread. Quercetin, resveratrol, naringenin, lots of them. Incredibly active at a cellular level, modulate mitochondrial metabolism, ROS homeostasis, highly influential on energy production, ROS balance, even steroid hormone biosynthesis. Multi-talented molecules.
And here we hit another complexity, the quercetin paradox, beneficial and harmful depending on dose.
Exactly. It perfectly illustrates the concentration-dependent effects. Dose matters. At low physiological concentrations, 0.11 thousand nrm, quercetin stimulates mitochondrial respiration, suppresses superoxide, harmful ROS, stimulates ATP production, highly beneficial. But at higher concentrations, it can uncouple electron transport from ATP synthesis. Mitochondria burn fuel, but don't efficiently generate energy. Potentially negative effects by messing with mitochondrial membrane properties. Resveratrol shows similar duality. Antioxidant at low levels, pro-oxidant at high levels, affecting mitochondrial function. A crucial insight. With these powerful plant compounds, more isn't always better. Context matters.
Too much of a good thing. And the phytoestrogen concern, especially with plant-based diets, another layer.
It is. Many beneficial polyphenols, like quercetin and resveratrol, are also phytoestrogens, plant compounds mimicking estrogen. Soy and soy products high in isoflavones are notable sources, suspected of adverse effects on male fertility, especially with high intake. As endocrine disruptors, they can interfere with enzymes crucial for steroid hormone synthesis or degradation. A significant concern, particularly with very high intake. Animal studies suggest exposure during critical development might disrupt the endocrine system, impact reproductive function. Adds more nuance to considering even healthy plant foods.
Okay, let's shift slightly from what we consciously eat to what might be in our food, invisibly. Environmental contaminants, the unseen threats.
Yes, if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's not just selecting healthy foods, but minimizing exposure to these unseen disruptors affecting our biology fundamentally. Pesticides and bisphenol A, or BPA, are prime examples. Not foods, but pervasive. They act as xenoestrogens, chemicals mimicking estrogen, and they can wreak havoc on sperm concentration.
And they're truly everywhere, aren't they? Seems like an uphill battle.
Unfortunately, yes. Pervasive. Pesticides on conventionally grown produce, accumulating in meat, fish via tainted water, BPA in food packaging, can linings, slowly leaching into food and drinks. Both have documented estrogenic effects, strongly suspected contributors to the semen quality decline.
And other sources too, cookware.
Yes, similar problematic chemicals to pesticides can even originate from non-stick cookware. It expands the conversation beyond just ingredients to how food is prepared, processed, packaged, highlighting the pervasive nature of these silent chemical exposures.
A silent assault. Okay, let's briefly touch on other dietary lifestyle factors. Not foods, but intertwined. Alcohol and caffeine, common routines.
Right. Alcohol's relationship with male fertility is notably complex, highly debated, contradictory evidence. Some studies clearly link alcohol, especially heavy chronic intake, to negative outcomes. Lower sperm volume, higher SDF, reduced concentration motility, negative fertilization rates in IVF. Chronic alcoholism damages the whole reproductive system, messes with the HCG axis, impairs hormone secretion, lowers testosterone.
But the conflicting info. Moderate intake, maybe not so bad.
That's the contradiction. Other studies report non-significant associations or no negative impact from moderate intake. Some rare studies even show a positive association with higher testosterone with moderate intake. Complicates things further. But overall, the consensus leans towards daily or heavy consumption being detrimental. Moderate intake remains controversial, needs more rigorous research. Defining moderate is challenging too.
And caffeine, our daily coffee or tea, affecting fertility.
Research on adult caffeine intake and semen quality is also mixed. No clear, consistent pattern across all studies. However, some findings suggest potential negative associations. High caffeine intake linked to lower sperm motility in some populations. Heavy coffee drinkers, maybe 7+ cups a day, and heavy tea drinkers showed lower fecundability, reduced chance of pregnancy per cycle.
That's significant. Any idea why?
One hypothesis: elevated testosterone, sometimes linked to high caffeine, could potentially disrupt the endocrine balance, ironically harming sperm production. Another example of excess potentially throwing off finely tuned systems. Balance and individual response seem key.
And smoking. Not food, but linked.
Undeniably significant. Profound negative impacts. When combined with alcohol, research shows a specific, pronounced association with higher sperm DNA fragmentation, an additive negative effect, hitting sperm with a 1-2 punch, compromising genetic integrity.
Okay, to bring this together before takeaways, a quick summary of the key positive food categories, counterbalancing the negatives.
First, consistently high intake of fruits and vegetables. Beyond specific antioxidants, higher overall consumption, especially leafy greens and beans, correlates with higher sperm concentrations, better motility. Foundational.
Fish and seafood.
Positively associated with various sperm parameters, even fertilization rates, primarily due to high omega-3 PUFA supporting membrane health, fluidity, energy metabolism. Increasing fish intake or fish oil supplementation could significantly improve semen quality.
Cereals.
Whole cereals, positively associated with concentration and motility, also principal fiber sources, helping reduce plasma estrogen levels, essential for normal male fertility.
And that specific snack, walnuts.
Walnuts, specifically shown to improve sperm vitality, fantastic, accessible addition, likely due to their exceptional fatty acid profile, including good omega-3s.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. The bottom line. Based on everything, what are the practical, actionable steps someone can take now to improve male fertility, support reproductive health?
Right. The takeaways. First and most crucial, embrace a healthy dietary pattern overall. Strong adherence to a diet mainly based on whole, unprocessed plants and fish consistently correlates positively with sperm quality indicators. Think Mediterranean-like. A balanced whole food approach, not just avoiding bad stuff, but actively building a nourishing foundation.
Second, prioritize fruits and vegetables. Lots of them. Aim for variety, abundance, rich in water, antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, fiber. Practical tip. Opt for organic when possible to reduce pesticides or wash non-organic thoroughly. Reduces those xenoestrogens.
Third, choose good fats wisely. Focus intently on unsaturated fatty acids, especially omega-3s. Fatty fish, walnuts, olive oil, avocados. Just as importantly, actively, drastically limit saturated and trans fats. Found in processed fried foods, they directly impair sperm energy production, harm overall health by messing with key enzymes.
Fourth, be acutely mindful of sugar intake. Consciously reduce high-sugar foods and especially sugar-sweetened beverages, significantly associated with lower motility due to insulin resistance. And given the mixed findings on artificial sweeteners, consider their potential downsides too. Make water your main drink.
Fifth, carefully consider protein sources. Protein is essential, but the type matters. Explore increased plant-based proteins, legumes, nuts, seeds, grains. Conversely, limit processed red meats, linked to negative effects possibly due to xenobiotics, less favorable fats.
Sixth, reevaluate dairy choices. If consuming dairy, evidence suggests strongly consider low-fat options, milk, yogurt. Be aware of potential implications of full-fat dairy and cheese, linked inversely to motility morphology. Low-fat might offer IGF-1 benefits. Full-fat might introduce unwanted hormonal components.
Seventh, actively minimize environmental toxin exposure. Consciously look for BPA-free products. Reduce reliance on plastics for food, especially heating storage. Be aware of chemicals from non-stick cookware. Choose safer alternatives. These unseen disruptors act as xenoestrogens, impacting sperm concentration.
And finally, remember diet, while powerful, is part of a bigger picture. Broader lifestyle factors are crucial. If overweight, losing weight is essential. Obesity impacts hormones, increases oxidative stress. Avoiding smoking is paramount, contributes significantly to DNA fragmentation. It's a comprehensive approach. Healthy eating, healthy living.
And it's important to say, While we've gained significant insights from these studies, the incredibly complex relationship between nutrients, diet, and sperm quality is still far from fully understood. More rigorous investigation, especially randomized clinical trials, is needed into the precise molecular mechanisms. To develop even more targeted, effective dietary approaches, the field is constantly evolving. What we know today is just the beginning.
Here's where it gets really interesting, maybe a bit sobering for a final thought. Given the substantial ongoing global decline in sperm counts and the profound impact diet clearly has, what are the broader societal, maybe even evolutionary implications if these dietary and lifestyle changes aren't widely adopted?
Mm.
How might this quiet epidemic unfolding largely through our plates reshape future generations, affecting not just individual families but the trajectory of human populations? And critically, what responsibility do we each hold in understanding addressing this, not just for ourselves but for the collective future? It's a question way beyond personal health. It touches our shared destiny.
It truly is. This silent decline, driven partly by pervasive dietary factors, environmental exposures, it presents a fundamental biological challenge to human reproduction. Our collective understanding and the actions we choose or don't choose could profoundly shape the demographic, the biological landscape of tomorrow. It really is a wake-up call to the power of our everyday choices on the grandest scale.
And that wraps up our deep dive into diet and male fertility. The message, complex in details, is clear in essence. What's on your plate profoundly influences your reproductive health. Informed, conscious choices can truly make a significant positive difference.
We really encourage you to think critically about your own dietary habits based on what we've discussed. Maybe even explore the original sources further. The science is there to guide us towards healthier choices, choices that can resonate through generations.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We hope you feel more informed, more empowered, and more aware of the profound connections between your daily choices and your long-term health, and potentially the health of the future.